I valued that as someone being raised by them, because it meant if something didn't make sense, they'd, well, do it because I said so. Well, that's not a rational reply to your child. They would have the reason for it, and then we discuss the reasons. So, early on, as I became more visible, I'd get letters, and people would ask about God. And I don't know much about God, so my early letters were, well, science is, and religion is that, and I can't help you any further. But then I thought to myself, that's not fair to the person who wrote the question. They're coming from a place, some religious tradition, whatever that tradition is, and if I'm receiving that letter, there's a contract, an implicit contract between me and the person who's seeking my guidance, my wisdom, my insights. And I owe it to that person to know as much as possible as I can about where they're coming from. So I said, I should really read up on this. So I started buying Bibles, okay? I bought the Torah, I bought the New Testament, the Old Testament, I bought the Mormon Testament, I bought the Quran and different translations, and I started reading them. And I studied the rituals, how the rituals differ, who celebrates what holidays. And the Jehovah's Witnesses don't celebrate Christmas, last I checked. Okay, they have a different interpretation and understanding of the same passages that other people say it's time to celebrate Christmas. That's interesting to me, because people raised in different traditions and different belief systems, at different times they are writing to me. So I have shelves upon shelves of religious tracts. I have shelves upon two shelves of UFO material. Okay? People say, I saw a UFO, what was it? I think it's an alien. Let me find out where these people are coming from. What literature have they been exposed to? What are they thinking? What is their belief system? Conspiracy theorists. So I have shelves on all this stuff. And usually you go to someone's house and you find books that completely align with their worldviews. All right. Someone asked me that. Somebody said, what are the books on your shelves right now? And I gave them the list, and they said, wait a minute, do you believe in that stuff? And I said, I read things that take me to places where other people think. If I'm an educator, I want to know that. Because when you're speaking to me and I have some understanding of you, I can navigate, we were talking about navigation earlier, I can navigate your receptors for learning. I don't have to have you come to where I am. That's not right. I'm the educator, not you. You're the curious person. So I'm going to meet you on your territory. And I had to read all of that to do so. Just to be genuine and honest in my replies to people. In this book, what took me a year to answer one of the questions, it was a Jewish woman, Orthodox. Why do I know she's Orthodox? I didn't have the latitude to ask her because it's just a letter. I know she's Orthodox because she doesn't spell God. It's G-D. So I know above certain thresholds, you don't even utter the name God. That's a level of piety that I got that. She's Jewish. She's got a 10-year-old son. She's sending him to Hebrew school so that he can learn, I'm quoting her, so she can learn where he comes from and learn his traditions. Oh, by the way, he's on the autism spectrum. So this is building, right? Okay, she's Orthodox, she's really religious, she's got a 10-year-old son going to Hebrew school, he's on the autism spectrum, and he says, by the way, one day he came home and said he doesn't believe in God. And he thinks Bible stories can't possibly be true. And she asks him, how did you come to think this? And he said, cosmos. I was like, okay, so I'm in deep shit now. Okay, should I read further? Where is this going to go? This can only end badly, I'm saying to myself. And it turned out she was very open. She said, I don't want to make him believe things that might not be true. He respects you. I know that, and I thank you for that. But sometimes I have my doubts too about these stories in the Bible. So I just don't know, can science and God coexist? And I just want to be a good parent. It was like, whoa, okay. So I went back and brushed up on sort of Jewish rituals, and it took me a year just to get all the right words on the page. So I wrote back. I think it's my finest letter in the book. So you can ask, well, so how did it all resolve? So my only thing I'll tell you is, was a year and a half later or so, she wrote to me and invited me to his bar mitzvah. So I said, okay, I think that worked out. That worked out good. So you said, how do I prepare? What was the essence of your, how do I learn? I learn because I want to be better at what it is I'm doing than I am.
It sounds like it starts with books. It's reading disconfirming evidence, which I think is super powerful.
Yes. I don't mean to point at you.
Please, point away. I'll take it.
It was like, yes. I tried, and one of my highest compliments I got one day, this is earlier when I was sort of recognizable to people. People would say, I think I know who you are, but they're not quite sure. I was at a CVS, and I'm waiting in line, and there are the magazines that are there, the Impulse magazines, right? And one of them was Life magazine, and this was around Easter, right? And it was like, Jesus. What different cultures say about him. Is it Hispanic, French, German, whatever? So I looked at it, and I said, that could be interesting. So I picked that up and I added it to the stash. Only when I did that, did a person in another aisle come up to me and say, you're Neil deGrasse Tyson, aren't you? And I said, yes. And he said, I wasn't sure until I saw you pick up the magazine on Jesus. Because I know you read everything. And I said, wow, this guy really knows who I am.